Hello friends, let's qualify Maharashtra State and UGC NET exam just in first attempt in computer science and application. It's very easy to crack it. Just we need revision, consistent practice for paper 2 and also paper 1. Solve daily 20 to 25 questions on each subject or each unit. Okay, whatever the units, discrete mathematics, computer architecture, then PCS like this. So we are going to revise here. If your basic is clear, you can solve any question. Okay, just clear your basics and then solve the many previous year questions. So let's continue for our revision series. In this series, we are going to continue the revision on what is the mathematical logic, what is the propositional logic, okay, what is the Boolean algebra. In previous videos, we have discussed what is graph theory and what is tree, all that concepts of graph theory. In these videos, we are going to discuss our next topics, that is mathematical logic. So let's start here. This is most important topic for our examination. Most of the time question is asked from this point, mathematical logic. First we have to see what is propositional logic. What is proposition? Proposition is nothing but a declarative sentence which is either true or false, but not both at the same time. It is also called as a statement. Of course, if there is a statement Pune is in Maharashtra, it is either true or false, but this is true, Pune is in Maharashtra. Propositional logic. Proposition is nothing but mathematical system for reasoning about proposition and how they relate to each other. That is propositional logic. This is very simple. Just we have to remember what is logic, what are the logical connectives, how to use in the circuit. So here are logical connectives. What are the logical connectives? This is nothing but the words or phrases which combine two or more propositions are called as a logical connectives. If we have to connect this P and P negative. So first is negation. Negation means what? Not. If P is a proposition, the negation of P, this is nothing but okay. If P has a truth value T, then for negation P there is a false value. Means negation of this true, opposite, false. This is called as a negation. For true, negation P is false. For false, there is a true. Now next is a conjunction. Conjunction means what? And. If P and Q are the two propositions, then the conjunction is denoted by and. Okay. For both, they are denoted by P and Q. It is a proposition whose truth values are given in this table. If both are true, then true, otherwise false. Means for and, we have to just remember T, 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 otherwise false. Okay. For P proposition, possible values are 4. Q, possible values are 4. Just you have to use conjunction rules. Just remind that if both are true, then true, otherwise false. Same here, disjunction. What is disjunction? Disjunction is also known as a or. In disjunction, if P and Q are two propositions having these possible values, true and false, then it is denoted by or. In this or, just trick. What is trick here? If both are false, then false. Here both are true, then true. Means in conjunction and, if both are true, then true, otherwise false. In disjunction or, if both are false, then false, otherwise true. This is very simple, just we have to remind. Next is conditional statement, logical connectivity. What is conditional statement? Condition is there. If, then. If this is true, if P and Q are two propositions, if P and Q both are true, then this is true. For T, F, this is false. In this, just use trick. If P is true, Q is false, then false, otherwise true. Okay? Only this condition. If first is true, second is false, then P implies Q is false, otherwise true. Now in biconditional statement. Biconditional statements means what? If and only if. P implies Q and Q implies P. Both the directional. If both are true, then true. If both are false, then true. Means in biconditional statement, if both the statements are either true or false, then answer is true, otherwise false. Means if there are same propositions, same logic, then it is true. For others, this is false. This is very simple. Means what? In this, negation is just opposite. In conjunction, if both are true, then true, otherwise false. In disjunction, if both are false, then false, otherwise true. In conditional statement, implications, if then. If first is true, second is false, then false, otherwise true. In this, if both are true or if both are false, then true, otherwise false. Very simple. Next is here conditional statement P implies Q. If means there are many times there is a question on converse, what is contrapositive and what is inverse of a if then. This is called as a P implies Q. Now converse of this statement is nothing but Q implies P. Converse means opposite. Q implies P. Contrapositive negation Q implies negation P. Inverse means negation P implies negation Q. Means if you have to remind this for in examination, just use three. Converse is if P implies Q, converse is Q implies P. Contrapositive is what? Negation Q implies negation P. Inverse is negation P implies negation Q. Okay. Use always short tricks to remind during the examination. Next topic is propositional equivalences. Now propositional equivalences means there are three types: tautology, contradiction and contingency. In tautology means what? T. If our truth table final column contains all T, all truth values, means if it contains only T in the last column of truth table or always true, it is called as a tautology. Means if you have given any statements and find whether it is tautology or not, just solve it using truth table, and if last column contains all T, then it is tautology. Contradiction means what? Just opposite of this. If last column contains all false, then it is contradiction. Okay. And contingency means neither tautology nor contradiction. Means if all the in last column all true, then tautology. In last column all false, then contradiction. And contingency means combination of true and false. Very simple. This is propositional equivalences. Next, logical equivalences. What is logical equivalences? Just we have to check for given statements here. We have to check here whether this is equivalent to this, logically equivalent to this. So if they are logically equivalent, they are denoted by triple lines here. That is same truth table, truth values in all possible cases. Means if we have to prove this is equals to this, then just find logical table P, Q. What is P here? These values. Q is here. Then we have to find negation P, negation Q. Then P or Q. What is or means? If both the false, then false. Okay. Then negation of this. We have got these entries here for this first statement. The next is what? Negation P and negation Q. So find for also it using the previous logical connectives rules. Then here both the columns, this column and this column, have same values, same truth values. So these two statements are logically equivalent. Next is algebra of proposition. This is very important because using this algebra of propositions, we can solve any statements equivalence, whether they are equivalent or not. So a logical equivalence, tautology, can be proved by either a truth table or by using the sequence of non-logical equivalences. Means we can check whether the statements, okay, are logical equivalent or not. There are two methods. Just your truth table, as we have discussed here, and using the algebra of propositions. So what is algebra of proposition? For double negation. What is double negation? Means what? Negation of negation P. It will always P. Okay. What is identity law? Identity law means what? P and T is logically equivalent to P. Now second is what? P or false, always logically equivalent to P. Here domination laws, P or T is always logically equivalent to T, and P and F logically equivalent to F. अगर हमें इसको एग्जाम के ड्यूरिंग ध्यान में रखना है कि व्हाट इज आइडेंटिटी लॉ एंड डोमिनेशन लॉज. ये प्रपोजिशन ध्यान में रखने के लिए मैंने एक ट्रिक बनाई थी. अगर आपको सच बोलना है तो सर उठा के सच बोलो, तो ही आपका सच जीत जाएगा. अगर आप सर झुका के सच बोलोगे तो आप हार जाओगे. अगर आपको झूठ बोलना है, मतलब जो लोग झूठ बोलते हैं, अगर वो नम्रता से झूठ बोलते हैं तो उनका झूठ जीत जाता है। अगर वो मुंह उठा के झूठ बोलते हैं तो वो हार जाते हैं। दिस इज आइडेंटिटी लॉ एंड डोमिनेशन लॉज. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज व्हाट इज कम्युनिकेटिव लॉज. कम्युनिकेटिव लॉज मीन्स इफ P or Q, then it is logically equivalent to Q or P. This is commutative. Next is P and Q is logically equivalent to Q and P, just opposite. Then what is associative laws? Associative laws means if P or Q association or R, then it is logically equivalent to P or Q or R. Means there is a relation between these association. Next is P and Q and R, then it is logically equivalent to P and Q and R. Next is distributive law. Distributive means distribution. P or Q and R. It is logically equivalent to, just distribute these values, P or Q and P or R. Same like this, P and Q or R. It is logically equivalent to P and Q or P and R. Very simple. Just use trick according to the name. Next, De Morgan's laws. This is most important proposition. Negation of, use this or this symbol. Negation of P and Q is logically equivalent to negation. Just apply negation here. Negation P, negation Q. Okay, just opposite of this symbol or. This is called De Morgan's law. Negation of P or R is logically equivalent to negation P, here is or, then and negation Q. Next, absorption law. This is nothing but P or P and Q is logically equivalent to P, and next is P and P or Q is logically equivalent to P. This is also very simple. Next is predicates and quantifiers. What are the predicates? What are the quantifiers? Predicates is nothing but if there are two statements given, Ram wants to qualify UGC NET exam, Sham wants to qualify UGC NET exam. Both wants to qualify UGC NET exam. These statements, similar part, wants to qualify, these are nothing but the predicates. Because it describes the properties of an object. If we take here X wants to qualify, okay, if we put these values X as Ram, then Ram wants to qualify UGC NET exam. If we put here X as a Sham, then Sham wants to qualify UGC NET exam and other students also. Then predicate with n variable, we can put here n variables for this predicate. We can apply number of n variables on this predicate and find the number of predicates. So this is called as a n variable predicates, also called as a place predicates, because this is x0, 1 up to n values, p of n. This is very simple. Just they are describing the properties of an object. These are the objects and this is properties. Take here another example. If p of x is function is given here, x is greater than equals to 5. Just we have to put here values and check whether this is true or false. Find the truth values for p of 2 and p of 7. If we put x as a 2, what is here? 2 is greater than equals to 5. Is this true? No, false. 7 is greater than equals to 5. It is true. Means these predicates are true. This is called as a predicates. Next, quantifiers. What are the quantifiers? Quantifiers are nothing but it shows the quantity of a subject variable using phrases. Quantity of subject. Quantity of subject means what? If there are 4 students in a classroom, 4 students means this is nothing but the quantity of a students. We say for all students, for every students, for all, for every. This is nothing but the quantity of the students. Sometimes we say there exist for a few students, some students. This is the quantity, some, few, for all, for every. So to show the quantity of the subject variable, these are the phrases: for all, for every, there exist. Then there are 2 types of the quantifiers. universal quantifiers and existential quantifiers. We have seen that these are the phrases used to show the quantity of the subject variable, but depending on this there are two types. Universal. Now universal means what? This is symbol for universal quantifiers. This means that for all, for every. Universal. And existential means existence. Quantifiers used here, there exist for some. Universal quantifiers are expressed as for all, for every. Example, for all x, p of x. Okay. In this existential, there exists x, p of x, or for some x, p of x. Means, if our predicate is students are very bright, using for all students or every student is very bright in a classroom. Here is what? There exist some students who are not bright in classroom. Means this is the difference between universal and existential. For all, this is symbol is used. There exists, this symbol is used. This is very simple. Number of times there is a question using these universal and existential quantifiers. So solve POIQs. We will solve it in our next videos. What is universe of discourse? Universe of means universal values, set of values. Replacement of a variable in a predicate to statement. Means, example, P of x is a student. Now x is a Virat, Rani. So universal for this is, universal of discourse is Virat is a student, Rani is a student. This is universal of discourse. Means all the students using this predicate. This is nothing but the set of values, replacement of a variable in a predicate. What are the variables here? Virat and Rani. They are replaced in place of x, and this predicate converts it into statement. This is called as a universe of discourse. Next is negating quantifiers. In previous exam UGC 2017, there is a question on this. We have given this, and just we have to find what is the negation of this. Now, these are the basic two formulas for negating quantifiers. If you take negation of there exists x p of x, it is logically equivalent to for all x negation of p of x. Next is negation of for all x p of x is logically equivalent to there exists negation of p of x. If you take example here, if there is a example, consider every student. If we take for this for all x p of x, okay, every student in a class has taken a course Boolean algebra. If we take negation of this, what will be it? There exists at least one student in a classroom who has not taken a course Boolean algebra. Our predicate is what? Student has taken a course Boolean algebra. Using this, every student in a classroom has taken a course Boolean algebra. And using this, there is at least one student who has taken a course Boolean algebra. And if we apply negation here, for every student in a classroom has taken a course Boolean algebra. If we take negation of this, there exists at least one student in a classroom who has not taken a course Boolean algebra. This is called negation of this, negating quantifiers. This is very simple, just solve different examples. Next is nested quantifiers. What is nested quantifiers? Nested quantifiers means combination of for all x and there exist. Okay, means universal quantifiers and existential quantifiers combination. That is nested. Either for all x there exist or there exist for all. If we take here example, for all x there exists some y where x plus y is equals to 0. Means ऐसे कुछ x नंबर है जहाँ y भी है और if you take the sum of x plus y, it equals to 0. Okay. Example second. This is a first function c of x. X has a computer. Second function f of xy. X and y are friends. Now, what is universe of discourse here? All students in your college. Okay. What is universe is given here? All students in your college. Means this function should be nested. Quantifier should be applied to all the college students in your college. Now, how to write it? If you every student in your college has a computer or हैज अ फ्रेंड हु हैज ए कंप्यूटर मीन्स एक्स के बाद एक्स के पास कंप्यूटर है और वो जिसका फ्रेंड है उसके पास कंप्यूटर है मीन्स दिस इज ए नेस्टेड क्वांटिफायर्स फॉर एवरी स्टूडेंट इन योर कॉलेज either X has a computer or there exists a friend Y who has a computer. This is called as a nested quantifiers. Next is rules of inference. What are the rules of inference? An argument. This is called as a argument. In a propositional logic is a sequence of propositions P1, P2 up to Pn. This is sequence of propositions called as a premises. These are the premises and the proposition C is called as a conclusion. Means for example, if we take Virat is a bright student, next is Kohli is a bright student, next is Saurabh is a bright student. So from these all the premises we can say that all the students are very bright. This is conclusion. Means using these premises we can draw the conclusions. This symbol is called as a its. If all the premises are true, this its that conclusion is also true. What is valid argument and fallacy? Valid argument is what? If premises are true, then conclusion is true. Fallacy means no valid argument, means false values. Very simple. Just using the number of statements, we can draw a simple conclusion. This is, for example, if we study hard, if we study consistently with practice, good questioning, then we can easily pass out the exam. If we study hard, if we do consistent hard work, if we do practice, then we will qualify the UGC NET exam easily. This is called as a valid argument. Very simple. Just study hard. Next is rules of inference for propositional logic. Now, there are number of rules of inference are used. These are nothing but the detachment, contrapositive, disjunction addition, disjunction simplification, conjunctive simplification. There are so many rules. Okay, just check the books and revise them for the examination. Next important topic is sets and relation. What are the sets? What are the relation? This is very basic mathematics. We have studied in our FYBSc Computer Science, and it's very simple. During our educational or course completion, it was difficult for us, but as we are grown, this is very simple. What is the set? Set means what? Set of the numbers, set of the integers, set of the alphabets. This is called as a set, means collection of elements. And what is relation? Relationship between the sets. If there are two sets, A, which is a set of integers, second is set of alphabets. Now, if there is a relation between these, there are number of operations on these sets. In Maharashtra Set 2021, there is a one question. What are the basic operations of set? Now, basic operations of sets are union, means combination of all these. Means if we take union, all the values are come in one set. Intersection, what is common between these two sets? Set complement, means all the elements in universe which are not in A. Means if we take A set and we have to find A complement, it is nothing but U minus A. All the elements in U which are not in A. Next is set difference. What is set difference? If there are two sets, just difference between two which is in A, not in B. This is called as a set difference, means A minus B. These are the basic operations of set. Next is Cartesian product of sets. What is Cartesian product of set? In our examples, there are two sets A and B. Then Cartesian product of A and B is nothing but pair AB, where A belongs to A and B belongs to B. Now our A is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And B is what? A, B, C. If you want to find the Cartesian product of this, just make the pair of 1A, 1B, 1C. Then 2A, 2B, 2C. Like 5A, 5B, 5C. Means this is a Cartesian product. There is a pair between every element of A and B. If A contains M elements, B contains N elements, then total number of M into N elements are available in Cartesian product. means A contains 5 elements, B contains 3 elements. Then 5 into 3, total possible elements are 15 in Cartesian product of A and B. Next point is relation. What is equivalence relation? Now relation means what? If there are two sets A and B, okay, from these two non-empty sets, this set should be non-empty. There is a subset of A cross B. Now using this, in previous we have find subset means like this 1A 2B. This is nothing but subset of this Cartesian product, okay, or two non-empty sets. If we take relation as AB, AB means this is A, one element from first set, and this is second element from second set. This is the pair AB which belongs to relation R. This is called as a relation. Now what is equivalence relation? Equivalence relation, every time there is a question on this equivalence relation in UGC NET, also in SET exams. What is equivalence relation? A relation on a set A is an equivalence relation if it is first reflexive, symmetric and transitive. If the relation your is reflexive, symmetric, transitive, follows these properties, then it is called as an equivalence relation. Now what is reflexivity, symmetric and what is transitivity? We will discuss with next example. Here is a previous year question asked in previous examinations. Consider the relation of set A, where what is set A here? 1, 2, 3. Defined by a relation. This is a relation, okay? This relation is given for us. Show that R is an equivalence relation. Now, what is equivalence relation? If it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, then it is equivalence relation. First, what is reflexive? Reflexive means the pair if A belongs to R, means for all A belongs to A, that is A related to A for A, all A belongs to A. If we consider the pairs A means same elements 1 1, 1 is related to 1. This pair is available for all the A's, means how many elements here? 1 2 3. We have to check for all these for reflexivity. A is related to A means we should require the pairs like 1 1, 2 2, 3 3. Okay, check in our relation. 1 1 is present, 2 2 is present and 3 3 is present. Okay, so R is reflective. Reflexive means the relation A related to A is present for all the elements in a set A in a relation R. Then it is called as a reflexive relation. Means these pairs are available in relation R, means our R is a reflexive relation. This first condition is satisfied for equivalence relation. Second is symmetric. Symmetric means what? If A is related to B, then B is related to A. That is, if the A is related to B, then B is related to A. For this, we have to find the pairs like if 1 is related to 2, then 2 is related to A, reverse. A related to B, B is related to A. Just check our example here. 1 is related to 2, A, B. Okay. Then we have to check the pair B related to A, means 2 related to 1. This is present here, 2 is related to 1. Next, 3 is related to 2. Here is 2 is related to 3. 3 is related to 1, 1 is related to 3. Means these pairs are available in this. So this relation is also a symmetric relation. Okay. And last is transitive. Transitive means what? If A is related to B and B is related to C, then A is related to C. This is very simple. Just check the pairs. Here 1 is related to 2. Okay, means A is related to B. Then B is related to C, means B is what? 2. 2 is related to 3. A, B, B, C. 1 is related to 2, 2 is related to 3, means we required A is related to C. What is 1, 3 pair? And this is present here, A, C. So this is transitive pair. Now for next, if 3 is related to 2 and 2 is related to 3, then 3 is related to 3. Next is 2 is related to 3, 3 is related to 1, means 2 is related to 1 is also present here. So this is transitive relation also. As given relation is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, this given relation R is nothing but the equivalence relation. It is proved. Next is partial order relation. First we have seen that equivalence relation, which is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Now what is partial order relation? A relation R on a set A is partial order relation if it is reflexive, asymmetric, antisymmetric, transitive. Just change here. In equivalence, this is symmetric, this is here antisymmetric. What is reflexive? If A is related to A for all the elements in a set A. Transitivity means if A is related to B, B is related to C, then A is related to C. What is antisymmetric? First, what is symmetric? Symmetric means what? If A is related to B, then B is related to A should be present in relation. Now for antisymmetric, if A is related to B and B is related to A, then A is equals to B. If these type of the pairs are available, then this is called as an antisymmetric relation. For example, if A is less than equals to B and B is less than equals to C, if 3 is less than equals to 5 and 5 is less than equals to 3, what is the meaning of this? Means both the values are same. This is called as a antisymmetric but not a symmetric, because A is less than equals to B and B is less than equals to A. This is not valid for a symmetric. This is valid for only antisymmetric because they both are same. Asymmetric, not same. This is called as a partial order relation, which is reflexive, antisymmetric and transitive. Next, representation of relation. How the relation should be represented? For that, diagrams of the relations are used. Diagrams means directed graph of a relation R. Now, if this is a relation R containing the pairs like this and set A is given here, how many elements in set? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make it as a vertex. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now check pairs. 1, 1 means 1 is related to 1. 1, 2 means 1 is related to 2. Like this. 3, 1. 3 is related to 1. 3, 4. 3 is related to 4. Use just directed edges to show the direction. This is called as a directed graph of a R to represent the relation. Very simple. This is first method to represent the relation, and second method is matrix representation of relation. How to represent in a matrix? For example, there are two sets A and B. Relation contains M into N elements. Now matrix of relation M of R. A set is here, B set is here, and relation is given here. Just draw the matrix. This is 1, 2, A elements. This is B elements. We have to show what is relation between these elements. Relation pairs are given here. 1A means there is a relation between 1 to A. So just write here 1. 1C, 1. There is no relation between 1 and B in R. So just write 0. Like this we can represent the relation in the matrix format.